Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back yet again to our English News Edition. I'm Daniel Cook and I'm pleased to present to you a translated version of the day's news, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. 4 hours after the decision of the Parliament that allowed the prosecution to proceed with the arrest, the police have carried out the order and have arrested MPs Mark Frroku and Tom Doshi. Mark Frroku was taken from a bar that he owns, and Tom Doshi was arrested in his own house. Doshi refused to go with the police until his lawyer arrived. While he was waiting at the house surrounded by police, Doshi made the following post on Facebook. "I am in my house waiting to confront the prosecution at the High Court. I have always been at the disposal of the investigation, and I always will be. I will not leave Albania until the truth is uncovered. I will be available to justice until the end of this battle," said Tom Doshi. The Parliament has voted in favor of the request of the prosecution to arrest the MPs Tom Doshi and Mark Frroku. There were 80 votes in favor of arresting Tom Doshi and 79 in favor of arresting Mark Frroku. The members of the opposition did not participate in the voting process. The only member of the opposition who stayed in the plenary session was Mesile Doda. Today's plenary session was led by the Vice Chairman of the Parliament, Vangel Dule. The Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta decided to attend the session among the MPs of the Socialist Party, but did not take leadership in the session to avoid conflict of interest. Before the voting process began, there were fierce debates between the majority and the opposition. Prime Minister Rama intervened 3 times, calling Mr. Dule to make sure that the rules of the Parliament were being respected. At one point, Prime Minister Rama gave warning that if the rules were not applied, the Socialist group would abandon the plenary session. The former Prime Minister Sali Berisha said that Rama's statement was extreme. He said that it was evidence of a total lack of logic. According to him, the majority is trying to conceal Meta's scheme. He claimed that the facts clearly show that Meta prepared a plot to kill 2 MPs. Berisha thinks that the witnesses and the evidence in the case are being manipulated. The Assembly Speaker, Ilir Meta, had this to say. Tom Doshi had 5 lawyers yesterday in the Council of Mandates. 2 of them were legal and 3 were from the opposition. Doshi threatened the prosecutors in front of everyone. If the evidence is made public, it will not be valid anymore. Be patient because the truth will come out. The Democratic lawmaker Edward Halimi spoke on behalf of the Democratic Party, saying that this is among the most important plenary sessions we have ever had. We have learned that another video exists that may be seen as evidence in the case, he said. The prosecution did not deny the existence of this video. The witness, Durin Bami, changed his testimony while he was in prison. The lives of Bami's children were threatened. The Socialist Party refused to take the video into consideration, which proves that they are hiding the truth, he said. Tom Doshi himself was not present in the Assembly today, but Mark Frroku spoke up in his own defense. He said, "I am not connected to this story, and it is not normal for my political duty to be interrupted because of this story. A member of Parliament cannot be imprisoned for perjury. I did not give a false statement to the prosecution. This request to arrest me is both hasty and demeaning. The Parliament should not approve this request. Many of my colleagues that are here may end up like me in the future. I'm not afraid to face justice for any accusation against me. I stand by the statements that I have made to the prosecution, and I will still be in politics after this issue is cleared up," he said. Before the voting process began, the head of the Democratic group announced that the opposition would not participate in this farce. Then the opposition MPs withdrew from the plenary session. After a great deal of debate, the Democratic Parliament group announced that they support the request of the prosecution to arrest the 2 MPs. However, they decided not to participate in the voting process. The head of the group, Edi Poloka, clarified the attitude of the Democratic Party. Albanians are a witness of a scary and scandalous event, he said. The majority did not provide any evidence in Doshi's case. The Democratic group will not participate in this farce. The Democratic MP Josefina Topali made this statement. No one has objected to Tom Doshi more than the Democratic Party. Doshi should have been in jail already for the files that the Democratic Party has already submitted to the prosecution. They are criminal folders, but this issue that we are discussing now is clearly a political agenda. Doshi should be in prison for the files that we have submitted in the past. The current issue is only a ridiculous farce. Possibly the biggest surprise in the parliament today was the position of the Democratic MP Mesila Doda, who stayed in parliament to vote when the rest of her party had left. Doda said that her decision to vote was in order to support the justice institutions. She said that her decision is not against the Democratic group, but rather in favor of her own conscience. Before his arrest this afternoon, Tom Doshi commented on the decision of the parliament, saying that he will confront the prosecution in the High Court. He made the following statement: "I am calm and I expected this decision. It is more important to me that the Albanians and the internationals learned that this is not a fabricated story. After failing to kill me, they voted to arrest me. The citizens have learned that organized crime has reached the highest levels of the state. There is no more democracy in this country. The law is not applied for an MP. Imagine how it is for the citizens. If a citizen denounces an employee of the state, the citizen will end up in prison," he said. Earlier today, before he was arrested, Doshi was asked if he was afraid of the coming arrest. "I am not concerned," he replied. "I expected all of this, even the arrest. The most important thing is the publication of the evidence that I have presented. The prosecution is obligated to publish the evidence. Then you will see whether I am right," said Doshi. Outside the parliament after the session, Mark Frroku made the following comment: "If the MPs approve the request of the prosecution, it will show the complete degradation of the institutions. The request of the prosecution to arrest me is demeaning. The prosecution has completely deteriorated. The prosecution cannot ask for the arrest of any MP for perjury that has not been proven. I have no more faith in this prosecution," said Frroku. The socialist MP Koco Kokedhima was invited to be a guest last night on the Ora News program Tonight Il Vittore. The MP from Vlora declared that he was unaware of the decision by the City Council of Vlora to give parking concessions. He said, "I am against the concession for parking in Vlora. I was not aware of this issue. The government was not aware of it either, and efforts are now being made to stop the process." Regarding the TAP project, he expressed the belief that it will not have a positive impact on Albania. He remarked, "These concessions are not in the interest of the Albanian people. The companies involved are the only ones that profit from this. Albania will not profit from a single cubic meter of gas because of the TAP project." He then turned his attention to the issue of legalizing medical marijuana. He feels that this is an opportunity for economic development in our country, and according to him, this possibility should be discussed as soon as possible. The National Day of Greece was celebrated in Tirana today. Greece was declared to be a free country 194 years ago. For this occasion, the Greek embassy has organized a reception to which they have invited the highest leaders of the state, the diplomatic personalities, and the honorary consuls. The Greek ambassador gave his assurance that Athens will continue to be supportive of Albania on its European path. He gave the following speech: "A deep and strong relationship has existed not only between Albania and Greece, but between our two people groups for thousands of years. This relationship is vital and necessary. One important issue for our countries is Albania's EU future. We want to thank Albania for the progress it has made toward the European Union and encourage Albania to continue with their reforms. Albania's accession to the EU would be beneficial for all. The sooner it happens, the better it will be." The Greek ambassador expressed the belief that the partnership between countries is growing stronger. He mentioned the many investments that Greece has made in Albania in the recent years, despite the economic crisis. The disturbing video from the Tirana Zoo, which has been spreading around on the social networks, is causing a great deal of debate between the City Hall and the government. The video shows the incident that took place a few days back in which an angry bull attacked and killed one of the zoo's horses. The Prime Minister has announced that changes are coming to the zoo. I want to assure all of you that improving the zoo is part of our new development plan. We will give our children a zoo like those in Europe. We will have a brand new zoo by 2016, said Prime Minister Rama. The City Hall has blamed the Prime Minister for leaving the zoo in such a bad condition in the first place. They released an incredibly harsh statement. The Prime Minister, who 6 years ago left the bull and the horse in the same living space, dares to speak about the zoo today. He has not invested any money in the zoo for 11 years. The most incapable Prime Minister of the history of Albania and the greatest deceiver will be remembered only for incriminating the government and blocking the work in the capital. These were the words of the City Hall in their announcement. That's the end of our edition for today. Thank you so much for choosing Aura News as your source for daily news updates in English. Have a great night and see you tomorrow.